Donte, just what do you think it's going to take to close things out tonight?
I mean, we've talked about it. It's probably going to be the hardest game of the series. Just knowing that, the closeout game is the hardest game. On your home floor, there's a lot of, expectations to close it out at home. And we just have to come out and be ready. We know that they're going to be ready to go from the jump. We know that they're going to throw a bunch of different looks at us. We're just trying to keep it alive. They're just trying to keep fighting and try to get Steph back. So we got to end it tonight, and that's the expectation.
You guys handled the Lakers closeout Game 5 very well. Are there things you can carry over from that particular game?
I think every series is different. Every closeout game is different, but what doesn't change is our approach, and what doesn't change is how we stick together throughout the game. They're going to make runs. They're going to hit a couple shots. They're going to get some stops. There's going to be ups and downs in the games. We just have to weather their storm and be able to stay together. I think what we did really well in Game 4 is they played really well first half, and then we came out third quarter and took it to a new level, and that's what separated us in that game. So we have to be able to do that for a full 48.
Donte, was there things in that third quarter just schematically or execution-wise that you guys found that were maybe harder to find earlier in the series?
I think we were being more disciplined on defense, and in offense we were just getting it popping, getting it moving, and when that does happen, then all of a sudden Ant does Ant, and 8 points goes to 18 points. But in order for him to be able to do that, we have to have the correct spacing, have the correct ball movement, have the correct body movement, and then he can do his thing.
Knowing that the longer the series goes on, that chances of Steph coming back are higher, how much does that just add motivation that, it should be smarter to end things sooner?
I mean, there's not a fear. There's not a fear that we need to end it before he comes back. We would like to. Obviously, you don't want one of the best players in the world to come back in the series, but there's not it's all over if he comes back and we don't end it before he comes back. That's not our mindset. We respect what he does. We understand what type of player he is, but no matter if he was playing, we're trying to end it tonight. Once you have 3 wins and you're going into the closeout game, doesn't matter who's on the floor, you're trying to win the game.
Donte, what's the difference, closeout game at home versus closeout game on the road, or just maybe managing the atmosphere, the emotion of the moment?
I think it's a little bit actually more difficult.
Yeah.
Being on the road, you're just, it's just you. It's just you and your team, and 5 guys on the floor, that's it. At home is, there's so many more things. You're home with your family, you're home with fans. There's a little bit of more expectation, I guess, more hype around it. But that's what we want. You want to close the game out at home. I'm not saying that you don't want to, but I think it's easier to do it on the road because there's no other distractions. So we just have to be ready to go tonight, and I think if we get off to a good start, we'll be fine.
Hey Donte, what was the biggest piece of advice you learned from playing with Seth Curry?
I've been asked this 100 times. To be honest with you, there's nothing that he has said to me about basketball. It's more so just being able to see him as a normal person, and being able to go through every day with him for that entire year. Just realize that the status that he has, he doesn't carry himself that way. He doesn't treat people as if he's better than them. So to watch him do that every single day, it just it rubs off on people.
Question for you about going to the conference finals, and then your friends in New York also have a good chance of going to the conference finals. How often are you talking to them, and what are those conversations like?
I talk to them every day, but from a basketball standpoint, from a team standpoint, it would be it's really cool to see a trade that happens that you can rule it as a win-win for both sides, and that's not saying that we're done of what we want to do. We have to close out tonight and we have to move forward with what we want to do. Same with them. But to look at the success that they've had throughout the season, individually and collectively, and same with us, it's always a good feeling looking back on the trade, knowing that it was a win-win.
Do you guys joke with each other at all?
Every day. I don't think there's anything serious being said.
Along those same lines, the Knicks and the Wolves are 2 of the 4 teams that had the most wins the last 2 postseasons. Have you kind of reflected on the fact that you're in this space of your career where you've been on some of the best teams in the league after trying to find your footing?
Yeah. I take a lot of pride in that. I like to call myself a winner and continue to win. I'm not worried about numbers. I'm not worried about any of that. As long as we win the game and move forward, that's kind of what my identity is. And just trying to find ways to be impactful. It might be 2 or 3 plays here or there to separate the game. And as long as the team can win, and like you said, keep bringing out stats like that, that's what makes me happy.
Thank you so much.